Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. As always, thank you so much for being here with us as we journey into the depths, the uncharted depths of the Paranormal Portal. And just know that you're entering at your own risk. We cannot be held responsible for any injuries that incur on your path, on your journey into the unknown. But thank you for journeying with us. As always, hope you guys had a great week. It's Friday. Hopefully, you're gearing towards a wonderful weekend, and the weather is going to cooperate with you and give you everything that you're looking for out of a weekend. I know that, it's warming up a little bit here, but it's still kind of chilly, so it's not quite balmy here, is it? But that other voice you heard is not just the voices in my head.
It's the voice of disappointment.
It's the voice of despair. No, it is our good friend and co-host, the Big Toe himself, Mr. Don Longbeard. How you doing, brother?
You mentioned... Is this thing on? Yes, it's good. Okay. You mentioned how it's getting warmer. It's actually not. It's supposed to snow this weekend.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Captain Sunshine.
Yeah, thank you. Whoa.
No, I know I did see that, and but it's going to be like 46, so it's going to be more cosmetic than anything. I'm not expecting any accumulation. Like I heard someplace got like 7 feet or something like that, or 7-foot drifts or something. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Somebody just got hammered just a couple of days ago, like hammered. And so thank God, all I can say is sucks to be them. I'm so sorry for you, but thank God it wasn't us. That's all I'm saying. I think I would have probably just curled up into the fetal position and cried if that happened here at this point. But we have a full buffet of paranormal fun to get into tonight. And as such, we are going to be talking about some Paranormal Kids, as you might have seen on the clip or on the thumbnail or clip art for the show.
The promo.
The promo. Thank you, Don. Much better terminology. But that's going to have a lot to do with some reincarnation, some kids seeing and talking to people that other people don't see and talk to. So we're going to
shout out to Alexander and Ray.
Alexander and Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, just shout out to Alexander and Ray.
There you
go. Who's that?
Apparently Casey Jones's kids.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks for joining and thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the journey. If you're new here, just so you know, we can't be held responsible.
If you've seen the show before, you know what you're in for.
Just keep your expectations down here and maybe we'll surprise you. But at the very least, maybe you'll get out of it what you expect. Oh, no, we always love new people coming in. That's always exciting and fun. So thank you guys for tuning in, however you heard about the portal, and we hope you enjoy the journey with us as we're going into this. But before we go any further, I'd like to take just a moment and thank the sponsor for the Paranormal Portal, of course, Cryptid Coin. Cryptid Coin, the most exciting new cryptocurrency to hit the market. This is one that's very near and dear to our hearts here because they are investments into cryptid research and investigations, and it's now available on PancakeSwap as a manner of getting a hold of some. If you want to invest in the cryptid research yourself, by all means, check it out, and you can learn so much more about it, more than I could ever begin to tell you, over on cryptidcoin.io. Again, cryptidcoin.io, and a special thank you to Cryptid Coin for sponsoring the Paranormal Portal, as always. We appreciate the love. So, Don, are you feeling it? Was that a yes? Is that a really long, drawn-out yes?
Yup.
Okay, because that sounds like news to me, right?
Yup, news.
It's time for news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what I've curated for your informative needs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor as well. Not only your host, but your anchor as well, Mr. Brent Thomas, joined by my co-anchor, Don Longbeard, as we dive...
Still the millstone.
Still the millstone. Still the millstone, of course, yeah. We are going to dive into some Paranormal Portal news. Now, if you're new to the show, some of this is actually paranormal, but all of it's kind of just different and weird, informative, unusual.
But not normal.
Definitely not normal, so therefore it's paranormal, just because it ain't normal. And which suits us perfectly here on the portal, because we definitely are not normal. We're going to get to the first article up on our roster tonight, and that is from unexplained-mysteries.com. They report a well-preserved dinosaur leg may be from the actual day of the asteroid strike. And there it is. For those of you on YouTube, you can see this.
So it's pre-barbecued. Right on!
It was fresh at the time, wasn't it?
It's sealed in concrete.
Yeah. Paleontologists believe that they may have found one of the victims of the extinction event that ended the dinosaurs. Yeah, there was plenty to choose from, apparently, but they must have hit the right layer there where they found the broiled versions. But the fossilized leg, which was found at an excavation site in North Dakota, is so well preserved that it actually still has skin attached to it. Must be mineralized, though, right?
Well, yeah.
But it looks like skin is what they're saying. Yeah. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Dating back to the very end of the Cretaceous, it has been speculated that this particular animal might have been killed by the very asteroid strike that ended the reign of the dinosaurs.
But can I ask a question real quick?
You absolutely can.
Technically, wouldn't have all the dinosaurs died from that asteroid? Being as it killed everything on the planet?
Yeah, it was an extinction event.
So isn't that like saying, like, here's one of, like, 7 billion of humans. Here's one that, died of COVID.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. It says it may have been the actual asteroid strike that ended the reign of the dinosaurs. It's belonged to a species of herbivorous dinosaur known as that word, Thescelosaurus, I guess. It's from a group that we didn't have any previous record of what its skin looked like, and it showed very conclusively that these animals were very scaly like lizards, said researcher Paul Barrett from London's Natural History Museum. They weren't feathered like their meat-eating contemporaries. Really? I didn't know that there was a difference in feathering or not. There does still remain some question over the exact circumstances under which this particular specimen died. Some experts have played down the suggestion that it died at the time of the extinction and instead maintained that it could have died days, months, or even years earlier. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
When you're digging through strata that takes millions of years to form, it's okay if you're a day or two off.
I don't think a day or two gives a crap.
As things stand, research is still ongoing, but whatever the story behind this fossil, it still remains one of the best preserved specimens paleontologists have ever seen. It's cool. It's a cool fossil. It's if that's what it looks like, said Kirk Johnson, the Sant director of the Smithsonian National Museum. Look out, it might disappear. It might not ever be seen again.
It'll never be seen again. Get your looks now because it's gonna disappear.
The Smithsonian, the Roach Motel of our history.
Yeah, no doubt.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't think we've ever seen a mummy of a Therosaurus, whatever, before.
The Celosaurus.
Okay, the Celosaurus.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, there you go, folks.
He's got his own built-in thesaurus.
Yeah, well, that's I just for those of you that are new, I just know that I usually brutalize several words by the end of the broadcast, so don't let that throw your opinion of the show. I have a very Midwestern palate, and I do my best, but geez.
Farm Smith, so poof, it's gone.
Yep, yep. That is interesting, though. There you go. A new fossil was to go to the ever-conclusive fossil record, Don.
But we didn't know it was scaly.
We didn't even know what it looked like for sure, but now we do. All right, well, thanks for playing. Here's an interesting one for since we're in the advent of Easter and all, and the Christian holiday. Christian holiday of Easter.
Hey,
and
Rachel, can I get that poutine with ketchup, please?
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Back to the show. Unexplainedmysteries.com has an article. I think it's pretty interesting. Let me close this. Is the cup on display in a Spanish cathedral the actual Holy Grail?
Oh, gosh.
Well, it's an old cup. I don't know, but let's see what it says. How big is this? Nope, it's good. We can still read it. Some researchers believe that the long-sought relic is actually situated in Spain's Valencia Cathedral. Few artifacts have inspired more debate and intrigue throughout history than the fabled Holy Grail. The cup is said to have once held the blood of Christ, and there have been many interpretations of the Grail legend over the centuries, including one suggesting it was in fact the wife of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, but the most common interpretation indicates that the Grail was a physical chalice or drinking vessel. The search for the cup's whereabouts is now so legendary it's become synonymous with the search for anything valuable or revolutionary. However, to date, its current location remains elusive. While historians unable to even agree on whether it even existed at all. In recent years, however, some historians have grown to believe that an ancient cup, which currently sits on display in Spain's Valencia Cathedral, may be the very thing they've been looking for. Legend indicates that the Holy Grail is comprised of two parts, a cup made of reddish-brown agate stone and carved gold reliquary on which the cup sits. Previous analysis has suggested the cup in Valencia dates back to the time of Jesus and originated in Egypt or Palestine, the only places where this particular agate can be found. Curator Jose Verdiguer, who is as knowledgeable as anyone can be on the subject, suggests the Grail may have been taken when St. Mark fled Jerusalem during the Roman invasion of 70 CE. After settling in Rome, he argues the Grail was passed down between various popes before ending up in Valencia somewhere in the 15th century. As things stand, however, it's almost impossible to know for sure if any of this is true. You just got to drink from it if you feel really good after that. That's what happened in the movie, Don.
If you feel like Sean Connery when you're drinking from it, you're doing pretty good.
Or I feel just like him. That's what your mother said last night. Sorry.
Then who's Indiana?
Yeah. We named the dog Indiana.
Oh, that's not what she said.
Well, anyway.
Maybe you did.
Maybe you did. That's the possible Holy Grail is just sitting right in plain sight. The best place I find to hide things from me is to put it right in front of you. So there you go. News. I don't know. I'd never heard of that before.
News that you can use. For what? We don't know.
Right. Well, it's got to be good in like games like Trivial Pursuit or something, right?
Sure, yeah.
Unexplained-mysteries.com tells us, I don't know if this is interesting or not. Let me just make sure. It's way too long. Never mind. They're not telling us about that. We'll let them tell us about something else, and that is the next article I'm going to pull up here.
This one's going to be a murder.
Why? Oh, yeah, I know. I can say that word, though. I've heard it referenced enough. Unexplained-mysteries.com reports archaeologists now determine start date of the Antikythera mechanism. And this is the mechanism that was found in the ocean bottom at some ruins of an old Greek ship, I believe. And it says it's now believed that the ancient device might have first started operating on December 22nd, 178 BC. Generally considered to be the most important archaeological discoveries in all time, the remarkable 2,000-year-old mechanism is believed to be a form of early astronomical computer. How the ancient Greeks developed the device, which is filled with staggeringly intricate array of bronze gears, remains something of a mystery, especially given the time period it was built in. Originally retrieved from a shipwreck by sponge divers, the mechanism was found alongside an array of other artifacts, including coins, jewelry, pottery, and statue fragments. Since its discovery, the device has been subject of intense study and debate with archaeologists struggling to piece together its function and origins. Now a new study has put forward the possibility that the device first became operational December 22nd, 178 BC. The researchers have suggested that a solar eclipse on that exact day, coupled with the winter solstice the following day, both important events at the time, would have made it the ideal candidate for a characteristic, important, and easily detected start date. While this conclusion is certainly intriguing, other experts have weighed in on the debate by playing down the likelihood that this particular date is accurate. For example, if the specific start date was correct, other seasons and dates displayed on the device would be inaccurate, such as the grape ripening season being the middle of February. As things stand, it's likely that the mysteries of the mechanism will endure for some time yet to come. Well, it's kind of neat, though. I mean, they've pieced together what it was and how it worked. I guess now it's just important to figure out when they started it. And I don't know. What do you think, Don? Kind of neat, huh?
Yeah, it's really neat. But, it's something that I definitely want to know more about.
Yeah.
Not too worried about when they started it, though.
Well, that's kind of
cool. It's just part of the thing.
I mean, it really is a computer,
True, yeah.
by all intents and purposes. Like, it was very, not really state of the art, but it was at the time. It was at the time. So, very cool. Antikythera. All right. And I said that word flawlessly, I think. So, we got that going for us.
Sweetly.
You got that going for us, huh? All right. Let's get to the next one. What the hell did I do here? Oh, never mind. Here it is. We're going into the archives here now. We got to dive into the archives. And we're going to hit... This is kind of a weird one. This is actually from 2014, ladies and gentlemen. It's a throwback, but sometimes when there's not a lot of the new news, I got to go to the old archive news. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Mermaids blamed in accidental drowning. I almost said drowning. A prophet in Zimbabwe, Serembeshi Komunpondera, drowned in a river while performing a cleansing ritual. The 31-year-old had been attending a congregant on the banks of the Rua River when he was carried away by strong current. Despite the grim outlook, however, his family continued to believe that he's still alive and that, as opposed to drowning, Serembeshi had actually been abducted by mermaids known as Njuzu. Okay. We realized that he needed help, and when he started saying, come and get, but when we tried to swim to where he was submerged in water, said his sister-in-law, Magma? Her name is Magma Dunn.
Maybe she's hot.
That was good. That was really good. That was perfect timing. Wow. I couldn't even have thought of that. That's brilliant. We believe that he was taken by a mermaid, and we're not going to mourn him because we know that he is coming back.
How do you get taken by a mermaid, drowned, and then come back?
Well, because if you're with a mermaid, the belief is that you're not drowning unless they drown you, I guess. Maybe they drown, but...
Did anybody watch Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Yeah, those grindly whatevers, they were mermaids.
Grindilo.
Sure.
I think that's what they call them. But anyway, that's a mermaid.
It's a type of mermaid, huh?
It's a type of mermaid, folks. I don't know.
Carry spears and knives. And...
Yeah, they're vicious little things, apparently.
Yep.
But there might be mermaid attacks. We're not sure. We'll get back to you when we have more. Here's one that I think everybody going through a drive-thru would like to have. This isn't your typical fast food, ladies and gentlemen. And this is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. McDonald serves couple a big bag of cash.
Sweet!
A couple got an early Christmas present when they ordered food from their local McDonald's drive-thru. This is from 2013, December 7th, right before Christmas 2013. He said Greg and Stacy Terry have picked up their breakfast at the McDonald's branch in Hermitage and had returned home to eat it when, upon opening the bag, they discovered that the drive-thru employee had handed them a massive pile of cash.
Wow.
Cash instead. My husband opened the bag and discovered the money inside, said Stacy Terry. He said, "You're not going to believe this." Sure enough, it was their bank deposit money.
Oh, my goodness.
An employee from the restaurant turned up a short time later, having realized the mistake, and the couple were happy to return the bag. It turned out that the deposit money had been placed on the counter with the drive-thru orders and handed to the couple by accident. "We are grateful for this customer and the action they took upon realizing our error," McDonald said in a statement. "We're looking into why this mistake happened."
I'll tell you why.
Because minimum wage.
Well, because you put the money in a McDonald's bag.
Right. That's probably not the best bank deposit bag.
Cheap
It kind of blends in with everything else. It's a great way to hide it, though. But what is most important to us is knowing that we are a part of the community with the values that were evidenced by this person's actions. Both Greg and Stacy are keen to return them to the McDonald's in the future.
Sure.
I'll bet they are.
Yeah, next
That's
time
that's a whole new kind of Happy Meal. We'll be back, said Greg, but next time I'm sure we'll leave with our normal breakfast order. Aw,
which will be twice the amount.
That's just so heartfelt and lovely, wasn't
Can I
it?
get 2 bank drops, please?
Like 2 cash deposits and an order of fries, please?
There you go. Hey, can you make me a shake? I'll wait.
I'll wait. We're all kind of broken here, ladies and gentlemen, as always. But the next one and last one on the order tonight of news is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. Definitely check out unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great site. There's so much stories, so many articles and stories over there. They do a brilliant job, so definitely support what they're doing. Stop over and check it out for yourself. The next one this is kind of the one that every parent warns their child about. How many of you heard the stories? Don't eat those seeds. They'll grow in your tummy. Well, so many of us grew up afraid of seeds. And it turns out some of those parents were right. Dandelion grows inside girl's ear. This is December 1st, 2013. God, those have a big root, too. That would suck. Oh, man. Doctors in China have successfully removed a dandelion found growing in the ear of a 16-month-old girl.
Oh, my.
Ran's parents had taken her to see a doctor because she kept scratching her ear, but when the physician took a closer look, he found something altogether unexpected. A dandelion had somehow managed to grow to 2 centimeters in length. So it's still very little, but still.
It's not that big.
The bane of gardeners everywhere, dandelions are widely considered to be a weed with the white cotton-like seeds that blow easily in the wind and can end up anywhere. In Ran's case, her parents had noticed something like a dandelion seed falling into her ear a couple of months beforehand, but hadn't thought anything of it.
Don't clean your kids'
Really?
ears.
Like you didn't check for 2 months? Wow.
It's not the tumor.
But hadn't thought anything of it until she started to scratch it all the time. The dandelion had actually grown into her ear and filled her ear canal wall, said Dr. Gu Qinlong. Even the slightest bit of pressure put her at risk for internal bleeding, so it had to come out.
No kidding.
Little Roundup would have been fine.
Just squirt it right in her brain.
The procedure to remove it took just 10 minutes, and Ran is now recovering in the hospital.
Did they use a garden trowel? Transplanter?
Yeah, they just rake it back a little bit and loosen up the soil. And yeah, I don't know. If you've noticed seeds in your kid's ear, you might want to check it out. I'm just saying. Or clean her ears much more often than 2 months. That is really bizarre.
Yes, dandelions actually do taste good.
Yeah, the whole things are incredibly edible and medicinal as well.
Right.
We've made dandelion coffee out of the roots.
Yep.
You dry up the roots and of course, roast it, and it makes a really decent coffee. Not quite your Colombian blend or Arabica blend, but
Arabica.
Arabica,
Oh,
thank
my
you.
goodness.
I told you I can beat up a word like nobody's business. But it is kind of cool.
Ah, that's just
It's supposed to be
horrible.
very medicinal and healthy.
Yes, it is.
So-
Especially when you make it into wine.
Ooh, I've never tried that. Have you guys?
We haven't made it, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious how that tastes.
I've had some, and it's tasted pretty darn good.
Oh, really?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I never had any. Let me just do this too, since we're still in the news. What the hell am I looking for? What's that festival we're going to?
What? The Phenomecon.
Phenomecon. Thank you. I just drew a blank.
Da, da, da.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up in September, Don and I are going to be taking part in an amazing festival that's going on over there.
Phenomecon. Ba, 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 ba.
It is Phenomecon. Good job. All right, Phenomecon, ladies and gentlemen, it's a incredible conference. This will be our first time going, but we're really excited. It's being held in Utah's Paranormal Conference. It's Utah's Paranormal Conference. It's held in Vernal, Utah, September 8th through the 11th. And it's going to be a blast. You can buy tickets by going to phenomecon.net, but there's just so many amazing presenters and personalities will be there. Dr. Jeff Meldrum will be there. Russ Accord, James Vieira of Looking for the Giants on the History Channel will be there. So many big names. It's just going to be an incredible event. And they're going to have a lot of other things. Adam Davis is going to be there. Bob Gimlin will be there.
Yep.
And Ronnie LeBlanc. Actually, the whole cast of Expedition
Every darn
Bigfoot
one of them.
will be there. And,
Every darn one of them.
Every darn one of them will be there. But it's just going to be an epic event. They've got all kinds of other activities. It's very close to where Skinwalker Ranch is, as well as there's apparently several haunted areas that they're going to be doing ghost walks and ghost tours and such. So there's all kinds of activities both at the conference and around in periphery to the conference, but it's going to be an amazing event. Don and I will be there, which hopefully is a bit of a draw as well. Hopefully. It is for us, of course, but you can go look at the schedule over on phenomecon.net and check out all of the things that are going on, and you can get tickets here and learn more. Again, phenomecon.net. And you can find out more about coming to Phenomecon. And if you do, make sure you stop by and say hello to Don and I. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to conclude the news. Let's get back to the regularly scheduled program.
Over
and out. All right, folks, we are back, and I am really looking forward to that one. I think we'll try to make more of them if possible this year, but that's just the first one we've committed to at this point. And the year is actually chewing up pretty quick already, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I mean, we're in the 4th month already. How the hell did this happen? What? It's going to be.
I could save time in a bottle.
Yeah, that's the truth. But we're going to be there. I hope you guys will be too.
Sell it to you.
Yeah. There's the bell, folks. We're going to go to our first break. We will be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't go away. Casey Jones in the YouTube chat says, the music's scaring my 6-year-old twins. Laugh out loud. They don't know how much fun I'm having. Sorry about the kids. It's never our intention to scare little kids, but I guess that's a compliment.
Well, he wrote all the music.
Oh yeah. That is my music, but
So you're saying Brent's a scary guy?
Yeah, that goes without saying. If you're new to the show too, the breaks are because we are also simulcasting not only on YouTube, but we're also simulcasting on TFRLive.com, which is simulcasting on iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And so there's half-hour breaks that we adhere to. So for those of you on YouTube, that's why you're seeing those video segments. It's because we're just keeping it all in sync. So we have a bunch of paranormal fun to go into with you guys. Remember, tomorrow night, if you haven't heard, we are going to be welcoming our wonderful friend and Paranormal Portal psychic, Miss Deborah Varner, to the show. Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah Varner is going to be joining us tomorrow night, offering free readings to callers of the show. Now, I'm here to tell you, look, there's a lot of opinions about psychics, but I'm here to tell you, Deb is really the real deal as far as I'm concerned. I've been doing this with her for years, and every show she just amazes me. She just pulls stuff out of nowhere, and the process is not like, it's not the word game and banter game that so many of the psychics use. Like, do you take the letter R? Well, what does that mean?
5 points.
Yeah. Is there someone? A male is reaching out, and waiting for you to kind of cue him in on what is hitting for you and what isn't. Literally, you call into the show and tell us your first name and what do you want a reading about. So whether you want financial, like, hey, how's my finances going to be, or look, I'm in this relationship, I feel I'm not sure, or whatever, or general reading or whatever, and that's it. And then Deb just goes, and I've heard her just pull some amazing things out of absolutely nowhere.
You should go back and listen to the episode where Wes calls in. That was good.
That was good.
He was like, I called in. I was thinking this was just a bunch of boo-ha. But now I believe, or something close to that.
Yeah,
I'm starting to believe.
Yeah, it was really cool because she pulled up the book thing. But yeah, so check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow night, right here on the Paranormal Portal, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Deborah Varner will be joining us, offering free readings.
Call early and hold the line.
Yeah, call in early and hold the line for sure, because there's no saying how long a reading is going to go, but we try to keep them quick and as possible. But it's just a great opportunity that Deb comes on to do this. It's wonderful that she's donates her time and energy, and it's our opportunity to give back to you guys. Sitting and watching a show is one thing, but when you have the chance to get a free reading, why not? So that'll be tomorrow night right here on the show, and whoever calls in during the course of the show, we do overtime on YouTube, so don't worry about, it's getting to be the end of the show, they're not going to get to me. We will get to you.
Well.
What?
Well,
I mean, if you call in during the 7 to 9 period.
They've done 4-hour shows.
Yeah, we have. Those get really
they're
long.
A little brutal, but
they get a little long. So just, if you call in during the live show, which is 7 to 9 p.m., we will honor that. But after that point, I got to cut off call-ins because we could be at this all night, literally. People just call and call and call. It's wonderful. So just call in early because it usually starts out, nobody wants to be the first one to dance. And once it starts rolling, it's just like boom.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Get off the wall, you wallflowers, and call in.
Call in and be a part of it. That's tomorrow night here on the show. So just so you know, that'll be coming up. But now on to the paranormal fun that we've been promising you. And if you aren't having fun already, there's something wrong with you. I'm just saying. Now we're going to hit a little article. And this is a ranker.com. Actually, they're all ranker.coms. All right. So I want to hit this one, though, because there were some other stories. Or should I start right with the kids? What do you think, Don? Because we got two of these.
Sure, yeah.
All right. So these are a little weird. Our kids born with an idea of what came before or what they have seen. There's many accounts of children claiming to have absolute incredible recall of another life experience prior to this one. And it's up to you to believe whatever you choose. I think these stories are incredibly interesting. I've never experienced one firsthand, so I don't know. But I know that some psychologists have actually signed on to this, saying, look, there's no way a kid would know this. They put together details about past lives and living in a different town, different area than they've ever visited. Sometimes even being aware of a language they never learned and stuff. So it's really cool. Right. There's this one story that I read a little while ago, and this was a kid. There was siblings. There was like 3 kids, and one of the kids just didn't talk for the longest time, and then suddenly started talking, but it was fluent Spanish, and the family doesn't speak Spanish, and the kid had no exposure to Spanish, even like in the community they lived in. So it's like, where does that come from? Well, there's an idea that we have this universal mind or can connect to a universal mind. And maybe these kids are plugged into that. Maybe they're plugging into other lifetimes. Maybe they were their lifetimes. But anyway, let's get to the article. And this is a ranker.com article by Damon Davis. And it's from April 6th of 2021. A very interesting article indeed. And it's people share the macabre things kids have said about their past lives. And it's a little spooky.
Yeah, so those are creepy.
They can be kind of spooky. Some of them I think are actually sweet and endearing, and I'll share with you why when we get to the specific stories. But this first one on this list was posted by Impious Operandi, and it says, my 5-year-old daughter said to me, I was in your belly twice, Mama.
Oh boy.
The first time I died before I came out, but I came back. She says, I did lose my first pregnancy 8 months before getting pregnant again, and she was never told. So I that's one of the kind of beautiful ones. Having been through miscarriages myself, not me personally, but in my life experience, it was a heartbreaker. It was a horribly sad event, and because you're looking forward to this child coming, and it's such an amazing, exciting thing, and then to have it just done, boom. It was the first one really crushed me. It was horrible. And so isn't it a beautiful thought that, you know what, if it doesn't work the first time, maybe that little beautiful child will come through again. I think that's kind of encouraging me, really. But anyway, I love those stories. So number 2 is the next one, submitted by Melonians. Okay. I didn't believe in ghosts, but it's fair to say that I now have a slightly more open mind. Our 3-year-old daughter was playing on her own, but she was playing hide and seek with an imaginary friend. I asked, are you playing hide and seek? And she said, yes. Who are you playing with? Uncle Andrew. My wife's brother, Andrew, was 7 when he drowned when my wife was 5. Didn't like to talk about it, so we never mentioned it. So that's kind of, I think that's a little different. This isn't really a past life thing, but it's kind of beautiful to think that those that we love still can be part of the family experience, right? Or what do you think of that, Don?
It's always nice having, it's awesome.
Okay.
Because, they're still connected, but, and especially if you don't mention anything about them, and they just pull them out of the air, it's like, oh, well, huh.
Yeah.
That makes it all the more weird.
It does make it.
But there you have it.
All right. So an interesting thought. Could they actually be still around? I think so. Because we've heard stories of children saying that they're being read to by grandma who had passed prior to their birth and stuff. And I think that's really beautiful. I don't know. I think it's awesome to think that, we of course perceive death as this barrier, this wall. But I think it's heartwarming to think that our loved ones still maintain a presence in our lives, even though we're separated by that barrier, and maybe it's not quite as solid as we think. But it's up to you to believe what you want. Number 3, and this is by Banksy0726. I remember when you were little. My middle son, 5, is named after my wife's grandfather. He just looked at her a couple of weeks ago and said, I remember when you were little and you sat on my lap. He also once gazed into my mother-in-law's eyes at 3 or 4 years old, stroked her cheek, and said, my daughter.
Huh.
Wow. So that's kind of it's just kind of a nutshell kind of a thing, but I assume there's an elderly person that had passed away and they're thinking that this is it. The kid is the rebirth of that person, I guess. Isn't that what you take from that?
Yeah, that's what I'd get.
Yeah. Number 4, my fancy hat from Raspberry Sweaty. Raspberry Sweaty. It's sweaty, right? I'm not reading that. Yeah.
It doesn't say sweetie.
My daughter asked me, remember my fancy hat? And when I said no, she said, yeah, before I was dead, I used to work in a bank and I saved my money and bought a hat in a round box. I was on the bus and a man almost sat on it, and then the bus crashed and I died.
Oh my gosh.
She was about 3 and totally casual about it.
So how would anybody remember the hat that died in the crash with you?
And how would a 3-year-old know that hats come in boxes and things? You know, like a nice hat back in the day would come in this beautiful, really nice boxes to keep them fancy. I think that's pretty wild. Number 5, I can grow up this time. This is by Sleepy Bear 1314. My middle son used to talk about having a different mom before me. He would say she was blonde and looked nice, but wasn't nice. And he would bring it up randomly and only ever got a bit emotional when he would tell me that when he was with her, he never got to grow up. He said he chose me to be his mom this time because I would let him grow up and get old. When he would say the last part, it was as if he were looking for reassurance. And he'd ask me like, right, Mom, I can grow up this time. Really screwed me up sometimes. Yeah, that's gotta be tough. You think you've got this brand new little person, but isn't it weird to think that they may have experiences well beyond their life? Number 6, remembering a 4-legged friend. This is by Rocker Nerd. I had a brother pass away from brain cancer, and at the time we had a cat who was a calico and just sort of knew he was battling something. She was really mean to most people, but with him she was gentle. He would grab her paws and she would just let it happen. Well, about 3 years ago, after he passed, my parents had another child, another boy, and he was about 3, when he told my parents about the white, brown, and black cat that used to let him grab her paws. She died about a year before he was born. Wow. Again, that's pretty wild. Number 7, KLWK says, my son once said, Mommy, when I was big and you were little, I remember when we danced in the kitchen. The only person I've ever danced in a kitchen with as a child was my grandfather. Whoa.
Huh.
I think that's wild. I think that these stories, I think, now again, it's a leap of faith because these are just blind submissions from a Reddit thread. But I think if even a few of these are the only true stories, that's still amazing. It's still amazing. I just love these kind of stories. Number 8, he doesn't remember this. This is posted by Jesander, Jesader 22. When my son was 4, we had driven past a cemetery, and he asked me if I remembered when he died and was buried, and I said no, and asked him what he meant by saying that. He said he had died, was buried in a cemetery, and that's when he started growing in my belly. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up when he said this. He doesn't remember saying this. Yeah, I think that's the other part of it too, folks, is that, these parts or these memories or whatever they are, they're not something that they usually retain. They they will get to a point where they'll forget this and then just, be the kid you expect them to be. But it's got to be a little unnerving to hear some of these stories.
Right.
You got this little itty bitty person telling you about another lifetime. It's like, wow. I think that's impressive. So number 9, a memory revisited. This is posted by Dr. Pirate 42. Are you landlubbers? I'm the kid in this case. I don't believe in the paranormal. I love those stories. I'm a pretty reasonable guy. I have degrees in science and healthcare, and I'm pretty grounded. But since I was a child, I had a memory of me stumbling out the back door of a club. I couldn't hold myself up, either really drunk or on drugs, and I slipped down a staircase and hit my head in the alley and died.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah. I was about 19. I was thin, had long blonde hair, and I was wearing a brown-red leather jacket. I remember the neon signs, the staircase, the door I walked out of, and even the interior, and I can paint the picture perfectly if I had any talent in art. Anyway, so 2 years ago, I took a leisure trip to Budapest, and while exploring the ruin pubs with my wife, I found the alley.
Wow.
It was funny because I remarked to my wife earlier when we arrived that I felt something about Budapest that felt like home and familiar, and I felt oddly too comfortable there, like I could have never left.
Right.
I think about this quite often.
Yeah, that's crazy, though. You know, I've never been to a place that I felt like I've been before.
Oh, really?
And so
The
this
deja
is kind
vu?
of a little deja vu, yeah.
Yeah.
Deja vu? But, you know, it's kind of interesting. You walk into somewhere. Well, I've had feelings of I've been to a place before, but I mean, like, there's a mall that I was at one time that I don't remember ever being at before, but I knew I'd been at that mall before. So, you know, things like that. But,
Sure.
So, yeah, I've had deja vu, but not like places. Like,
Sure.
well, I don't know. There was that one time in Mexico, though.
Are you serious, or are you being silly?
No, there was this one time in Mexico.
Sounds like a setup for a joke or something.
No,
Okay.
I took that trip Mexico '95. I think it was 2 weeks in Mexico, down the Baja Peninsula and up the coast, and then back into Santa Barbara or wherever the hell it was, San Diego.
Uh-huh.
But there was one time I was sitting on the beach though,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember just how being on that beach before. Now that I think about it, so yeah, interesting.
You know, I gotta wonder though. So, do you think that these could they, if they weren't actual past life memories, could they be just a psychic impression that people get, and it's so powerful that maybe they think it's their own? Like,
You know, that's possible.
You know,
but I mean, if you think about it, you know, if we return to the great consciousness, you know, whatever you want to call it, or you know, whatever, you go to you know, what is it, limbo. You're in limbo until you're born again, or whatever that is.
Sure.
You know, hopefully not purgatory, but you know,
right.
You know, but these may be the last things. This seems like the last thing this person
Saw.
in this story.
Right.
This is the last thing that happened to him. That's a reasonable assumption, in my opinion, to think that this is what happened. This was the last thing I remember, and then I was being born again.
Right.
So, you know, and the boy before this one, you know, how he said, I can't remember, but,
Yeah.
you know, these stories are remembering past lives and then possibly forgetting them. But this is a little different. This
Right.
was, he was already an adult, he was married,
Right.
and they were in Budapest, which would be a hell of a place to go check out.
Well, it is interesting, too, because he never lost that memory. Like,
Right, yeah.
A lot of times these just fade, and that's what makes me wonder if they're actually the kid themselves having the experience, or is it a psychic impression they picked up somehow or something like that. But in this case, yeah, I mean, if he held on to it through his whole life, that is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Number 10, he does that sometimes. This is by Planks Gone Mad. None of mine have, but back pre-pandemic, I was watching my friend's then 3-year-old for her and saw a big military ship, and he got this kind of faraway look and said, "I remember when my boat sank, there were so many sharks." I said, "What?" He blinked and said, "What?" and then started asking questions about the boat. I mentioned it to my friend, and she said, "Yeah, he does that sometimes." Wow. Huh. So maybe it's not all like on a conscious level. Maybe it's on a subconscious level almost for that kid. I went to war, number 11. This is a quick one by the OG Mark, or the OG Mark. My little brother said when he was 3 or 4, when I was growing up, I went to war and I never came back.
Yep, that's another one of those.
That's pretty rough. Previous training, number 12, posted by Rouge on Reddit.
Rouge on Reddit.
Yeah.
Red on Reddit.
Red. Oh, Red. Gotcha. Red on Reddit. When I was 3, I used to tell my mom stories about my other family every night before bed. We had a dog, too. One day she took me to Target and I told her I wanted big girl undies, and she said she would buy them for me and I could wear them when I was potty trained. And I told her that my other family already potty trained me, so I can start wearing them now. I put them on that day and never had an accident after that.
Huh.
She never potty trained me and was just shocked.
Huh?
Wow. So actually, she comes in with some skills. That's good.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Get them dishes done.
Yeah, exactly. Can you drag a vacuum? Okay, let's get to work.
Let's do it.
All right, number 13. When do the bombs drop? This is by Entropic Pie. According to my dad, when I was around 5, I was staring out the window during a heavy thunderstorm.
Ooh.
When he asked me what I was doing, I answered, "When do the bombs drop? Are they gone yet?" I grew up in Germany, and my dad's dad used to alert the city for incoming air raids. My grandpa died 3 days before I was born, and at 5, and I have no idea about the war or my grandpa. Really freaked him out at the time. A couple moments later, I forgot what I said, and when he asked me more questions. Huh. So again, that one's kind of a fleeting memory, but it popped out of his mouth. I was never found. Posted by Anko Dango. Apparently, when I was a kid, my dad and I were watching Survivor Man. Apparently, there was an episode where he was in the woods. Yeah, like every one of them.
Yeah.
And I said something along the lines of, I got lost in the woods once with friends, but I was never found. Oof.
Those aren't very good friends then, are they?
I know, really? Yeah, pick your kids, pick your friends carefully. That's how David died. Posted by Prize the Best. Answer for my parents. When I was 4, my parents and I went to my aunt's farm. The wind started picking up, and I looked back at my parents and said, "Gotta tie the hay bale down in the wind. That's how David died." To this day, nobody knows who David is. Ooh. Memories. 16, a son remembers. Posted by Eyes Peeled. My coworker has a son who, when he was 3, told her he used to grow rice and lived in a place where 2 rivers met. He was able to name the rivers, and she located it on a map of East Asia. Pretty wild. Yeah, see, there you go. When he was 3, he was naming rivers in East Asia. Probably not your general, Sesame Street fare. Yeah, exactly. So how did he pick that up? I'm thinking it might be legitimate. All right, number 17. I used to play drums like that. Posted by Dogfish with letters and numbers. Was watching an old video of a jazz drummer playing a solo. No idea who it was, but he was really good. My daughter, probably age 3, was looking over my shoulder for a minute before she said, "I used to play the drums like that when I was a man." Wow. How about that? You wonder if, now you got to wonder, so if this person would have started their kid playing the drums, would that have been just like, boom, easy, ready to go? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they would learn really, really quickly because there was a body memory of that. Yeah,
muscle memory of how to,
Right.
Because that's a lot of coordination right there.
It is. Number 18, A Memory Revisited. Posted by Miriam67. I don't have kids, but when my brother was a toddler, he said something to my mom about throwing hay in the window for the horses. My grandfather died before his birth and was a farmer. The barn had windows, and he would just throw the hay in the windows for the horses to eat. My mom was really freaked out, but he never said anything else similar again. So is it possible that we have like these soul families? And through our, if there is indeed reincarnation, through our many incarnations, we stay within a soul family or something. Well, some do. Maybe.
Well, Paisley has some friends, Judge and, I forgot her name. Anyhow, they talk, and so they've been on Paisley's show a couple times before, and they talk about how there's a soul contract, and generally what happens is, you go through these learning cycles of being born and die and born again until you learn the lessons. And these lessons are contracts that you sign with other people in your sphere.
Okay.
So there may you interact with 50 people, and those 50 people interact with you and 49 other people. As an idea, just this is how this works. And then. You all agree that, before you're born, these are the lessons we're going to learn, and these are the lessons we're going to teach.
Right.
And so, you stay with a core, but you can be bumped out of that core. And the way that happens is the way it was explained to me was, the way I understood the explanation, I should say, is that if something happens before your time is done for that lesson, you actually get bumped to another family or another core group. And so, it's kind of odd, but
Yeah.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, Maggie said she's heard that theory too.
Yeah, so you stay with the soul family, but if something happens that's not in the contract, or something that happens that's you out of here. But then, it might not be your fault either. I mean, it may be just something as a freak accident.
Sure.
So
interesting, very interesting point. All right, folks, we are going to head to the hour break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes for more of these paranormal kids and what the heck. Hope you're enjoying it. Anyway, don't go away. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes for more of the Portal.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me, and their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Caroline is he's with, they're attracted to the one thing.
Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Their guy's disturbances of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
That's why I don't chat as much, ladies and gentlemen. When I do, then I forget to do things like unmute things. And you guys are just staring at Don and I looking at the screen.
What did I miss?
I forgot to unmute for those on YouTube.
Oh.
They couldn't hear anything. It was dead. But we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's why I don't chat, because I'm, like many males, I'm not good at multitasking. I kind of monotask and try to juggle those monotasks, and it doesn't work out real well. So anyway, welcome back. We are, of course, going through the night. We're in the second hour now. Second hour, Don.
Number 2.
Dos hours. We are in hour number 2, and as such, we're gonna polish this up. I think we're about through this thing. Yeah.
Sweet.
I think we're about through this article, and then we'll get to the other article, and then we got a couple creature reports from Phantoms and Monsters, and then whatever time we got left, we'll fill it with fun. You betcha, because that's how we roll here in the portal. But anyway,
Maggie says that ain't just a bloke thing for sure.
Oh,
so there you go.
I know lots of people that can do like 15 things, and they're just totally on it. Me, I'm very much a one task kind of person.
If I'm under pressure to get something done, or many things in a very short amount of time, I usually do pretty good. But once I'm like on that, well, I can, once I get in my head, I only have one thing to do. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to get it done. It's not going to happen.
Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. All right. Well, there is that. We're going to get back to the article. We've been reading about these kids' stories, creepy kids' stories, past lives and such. So we are on number 19. This is a Ranker article. It's been a good article. I think they did a good job aggregating these for sure. We're on The Other Mother, number 19.
The other mother.
From another mother. My nephew, this is by JLT131. My nephew, around 2 or 3, would talk about his other mom and then look confused when you asked him to elaborate. She's not here now. So it's like, that's got to be absolutely...
So, buttons on your eyes?
Right, yeah. But isn't it, can't you just imagine how does a kid cope with that? It's like, well, there was another mom before, now there's a new one. I guess it's... They probably don't break it down too much. It's just whatever's there. That's what
they don't have. I would imagine they don't have the ideal concepts to contrast one to the other.
Right.
It's like, well,
that's just the reality, right?
Yeah. It's like she had blonde hair.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
Enough said. Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Now we'll go to number 20. I waited 100 years.
100 years. Wow.
This is posted by Kurachan28. When my nephew was about 3 or 4, my sister said he was throwing a tantrum in the car while he was in the car seat and yelled at her randomly, "I waited 100 years to be born." Wow. That's a patient kid.
Yeah, but that's, that's things kids say.
Sure.
That's just things kids say.
Arbitrary thing, yeah. Just like I heard 100 years, then
right.
They just know that means a long time, yeah.
Yeah, or, dad complaining, it's like, it's been 25 minutes. Feels like 1,000 years.
Right.
Yeah, so, those are things just kids. Yeah.
Those darn kids, things kids say, and that is the end of the list. We almost could have polished that off, but...
Oh, wow.
That's all right. We just never know what we're dealing with here on the portal, so let's get to the next one.
And there's the truth.
There's a big truth. All right, so the next one is another Ranker article that I thought
Hi,
was pretty
Naysay.
cool. Naysay. Well, hello there.
Hello. How you doing, big fella?
Well, hello there. This next one is by Ramya Jai Shankar, and this is 18 stories about children with a sixth sense that give us the chills.
Ooh, okay.
These are the psychic kids, folks, and of course it's nothing new to anybody that's enthusiastic about the paranormal. We hear these things all the time that kids are after animals. Kids are the first ones that pick up on a presence. I think animals are the first, like they'll pick up subtle things, but kids will see it like it's just another person a lot of times too.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
to them it's another facet of their reality. But for us adults, we're like, why are you talking to that corner? And in their mind, they've got a person standing there and they're having a talk with them. Right. And because they see it, they perceive it clearly. And why that is, I don't know. If it has something to do with the activity of the pineal gland that calcifies if you fluoridated enough or whatever, or any number of ideas, I guess. But I tend to think it might be something about the pineal gland and that it's wide open for them and probably doesn't close up.
Taking it too much, processing too much information.
Yeah, and having no distractions. Like as you get older, we get all kinds of distractions. Kids are just
jaded.
It's called being jaded. Yeah, when you get older, you get more jaded and you're not as open to things. But kids, I don't think deal with those same blocks like we do. And of course, it's just life. I mean, as you get older, your life has a lot more that requires your attention.
Right. And
it does narrow you and refine you to a point where kids are these like blunt, wide open instruments that just see everything. So maybe it's something about the psychology. Maybe it's something to do with the pineal, and maybe, a lot of times these kids that are talking to closets with, crews of people or whatever, in their perception, they're talking to somebody. They're a lot of them do tend to lose that, or it goes down quite a bit at the time of puberty, or at least late childhood. Right. That does seem to start changing. And
it's called second grade.
Yeah, well, might be a part of public school.
Stop all the daydreaming. Get with the real world.
Yes. Yeah. Quit staring at your pencil.
It's so mesmerizing.
That's what my second grade teacher told my mom. It's like I was the only kid she knew that could stare at a pencil eraser for 2 hours.
Nice.
I was in someplace else, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, 18 stories about children with a sixth sense that gives us chills. And so the first one is The Man in the Hallway by Sassy Nana, or Melissa Gillett. And she writes, my 5-year-old grandson just nonchalantly asked me why the man in the hallway is watching us. I live alone.
No, you don't.
Ooh. Where is it? Yep. There you go. You thought you lived alone. Yeah, apparently not. I love how at the end of these, the last one was Spooky Kid, ? Now it's just Spooky. Ghostly Grandma is next by former GOP mom. And this is replying to Melissa Gillett. And she said, my mom died 5 years before my kids were born. But when they were old enough to talk, they told me how she sat on their bed at night and told them stories of me as a child and her nickname for me. Everything they said was true.
Wow.
That's amazing. See, now that to me is an incredibly beautiful story because, how many times have you thought, I wish my grandfather could have met the great-grandchildren or something like that, or grandma could have held the babies or whatever. But maybe they are. Maybe they really are right there. And maybe all kids don't have that much of a clarity in their experience. But what if it's just a comforting presence, or, soothing a child that's crying or something? Or, how many of you have, you've had something going wrong and you just feel like everything is going sideways, and then you'll feel this comforting presence. And maybe that's those loved ones just wrapping themselves around us going, it's going to be okay. Maybe we still do have those experiences as adults, but we just don't perceive them. But I think it's so cool that these kids had an experience of their grandmother coming in every night. So they got to have that experience. And that to me is beautiful. Anyway, just me, but it's just the thought. Number 3, Baby Lisa. This is by Jeannie. I don't know how you say this. Jean, wear your mask, get the vax. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Appreciate it. That's very sweet.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
That's very cool.
$9.99 for all you can eat. I'm gonna stuff my face to a funky beat. Sorry.
You said funky, just for the record.
That's what I said.
I know. I just want to
what I
make
said.
sure that didn't get misconstrued anywhere.
It's an old Fat Boy song.
Yes. My niece,
Boys on back.
Lisa, passed away at 13 months old. She was 2 months older than my daughter. When my daughter was about 3, we were looking through pictures when she pointed to my niece's picture and said, "That's my friend, baby Lisa. She plays with me in the sandbox. She lives far, far away."
Yeah, that's a long way away.
Oh, that's. I mean, again, I know that does sound creepy, and I don't dismiss that completely. But isn't it also kind of beautiful?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's not just me, is it? Right, Don?
No.
Okay,
No.
all right.
Because that's still part of your family. You know? That's
Right.
your niece. That's your brother or sister's kid. You know. And
Yeah.
So, you know, they're your niece, your nephew.
Yeah,
That's kind of awesome.
I think so too. Premonitions is the next one, number 4. This is by Rainbow Johnson Johnson.
So good they had to say it twice.
And this is, my mother tells me when I was 4, I came into the kitchen and told her that Uncle was dead and that he said goodbye. She was upset and told me not to say such things, and moments later, the phone rang and the person calling told her that Uncle had just died. Wow.
Yeah.
There again. That's cool, because he did come by and say goodbye. Aunt Peg is next, by Dr. Conway. And she said, when my son was about 2, we were napping on the second floor of our small row home in Philadelphia. All of a sudden, he pointed at the window and said, "Hi, Aunt Peg." A few minutes later, the phone rang, and we found out that my husband's Aunt Peg had passed. I'll never forget it.
I bet you won't.
Well, there is that. Like, that is kind of creepy. Like, if people are floating out my window, I'm thinking of, like, Salem's Lot.
I see dead people.
Do you want to come out and play? Did you ever see Salem's Lot, Don?
Yes, I don't remember it very well.
It was a vampire show, though. You remember that, right?
Salem's Lot was about the graveyard.
Oh, wait, what am I? It was a vampire show, right?
Salem's Lot was written by Stephen King.
No, you're thinking of Pet Cemetery.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Salem's Lot. Okay, no, I've never seen. Why was I thinking Salem's Lot was? Yeah, you're right. Pet Cemetery. I don't know
Yep.
why.
Okay, but there was a scene in there, and I was young when I saw it, but it was a little kid had gotten taken down by vampires, and he passed, and it was a sad event in the show. And then the kid is up in his room, just all broken up about it, and his friend, it gets foggy outside the window, and then this eerie light comes on, and there's this kid in the window with glowing eyes, like, "You want to come out and play?" It was the creepiest thing I ever saw.
Yeah, that'd be scary.
That was horrid.
You know, there
Horrid.
is so speaking of Stephen King on my end, not yours, but there was a movie called Storm of the Century or Red Rose. Rose Red. It was Rose Red.
Okay.
And I fell asleep. I started watching the show and I fell asleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen King's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I woke up and I don't remember what I heard, but it was just kind of creepy. And I opened my eyes, and on the screen was this picture of somebody laying on the couch and this thing coming up over the couch.
Oh.
Like, what the hell?
Good
and
morning.
That's all I remember of the movie.
Oh.
That's absolutely it.
That's enough, though. Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Stephen King. Read many of his books as a teenager, and The Mist was the one that disturbed me the most.
Missed. I didn't see that one. I didn't read that one. Did you read the one under the name Richard Bachman called The
I never
Long
did.
Walk?
No, I never read the Bachman books, but
Ah.
that was an advent for me to read something that had no pictures. Like I was a big comic book head, and so for me to read anything that didn't have pictures all over it was a big leap. But I found his writing to be absolutely mesmerizing. Very talented writer, in my opinion, at that age. I mean, I haven't read his stuff in years, but I always thought.
Oh, it was written by Stephen King. Salem's Lot was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's probably why I was thinking about it. Yeah, somebody mentioned it in the chat.
Okay.
They were both written. See, so that's how much I pay attention.
There you go. Well, chat, you're like the second co-host of the show.
Exactly.
You guys are. So and feel free.
Dream pointed that out. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, thank you, Dream. All right, so Jokery says, I recall that movie. Okay. Very cool. No jumping on the bed, number 6. Bring equal justice adequately, Beja. I don't know what that means for sure, but yeah, equal justice is always good. My dad passed in the 80s, in the 87. My daughter was born in 93. At 1.5, she was jumping on my mom's bed. My mom and I were singing the monkey song. Then baby girl just stopped cold, sat down on the bed. Granddaddy said no jumping on the bed. My dad never let us jump on the bed. Wow. So he's still there. He's still there.
Yeah, and he doesn't want no more monkeys jumping on his bed.
Yep, Granddaddy does not like that. Still very stern about the jumping on the bed. There you go. That's kind of spooky, but in a cool way. Number 7, imaginary friend named Eddie. This is by I Am Karen. I want to see the manager. No, I'm just kidding. All right. And it says, my friend told me a story of the 5-year-old whose family moved into my childhood home. He had an imaginary friend named Eddie who was 3. I have a great uncle who died in that house, age 3, and his name was Edward.
Well, I guess that would be Eddie at the age of 3.
See, that's the kind of the sad part of it, right? So, I think for whatever reason, this, and it may not be actually Eddie at all. Could just be something pretending to be Eddie. But the point being is that what if it is the soul of this child just sticking around for whatever reason that they might stick around, and then the family moves away and it's just like, oh, they're kind of left behind.
Right.
I think that's kind of tragic. Ugh. But anyway, at least they found playmates. So, number 8, Gettysburg expert. This is Lorraine. When my son was 5, we took a trip to Gettysburg. He kept correcting the tour guide.
Really?
I asked him how he knew this information. He said the man in the uniform was telling him. His information was correct. It was more precise than the tour guide's information.
Wow.
Oof. That is really cool. So this kid is having an actual discourse with a spirit of somebody that fell at Gettysburg, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh. That is wild. Isn't it something? Just think of that, Don. So you go to Gettysburg and you're walking around and you might be shadowed by all these people that fell there that are just still there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that good or bad? What do you think?
Well, it wasn't bad in this.
No, yeah, that was cool. But
it's unfortunate we don't know if it was, north or south, but
well, yeah, but either way, it was somebody that fell and was able to give this kid absolutely correct, accurate information.
Right.
Wow. I think that blows me away. That's a great story. That was by Lorraine. Very cool, Lorraine. I used to watch You and Mommy is the next one. This is by Doug Judy's Velvet Blazer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, blazer. It's a velvet jacket.
Oh, okay.
Just a velvet blazer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of classy,
It's a smoking jacket.
Oh, yeah. Okay. My 6-year-old does this often. She told my wife and I at dinner one night, I used to watch over You and Mommy when you were little. Another time she told us she met her brother who died 4 years before she was born. Aw, that's cool.
And no backup on that. Like, she did have a brother or...
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate because maybe it was her brother from another mother.
Could be.
An alternate life. Read that as alternate life.
Right. Yeah, it could be. But, she didn't say she never had a brother.
Yeah.
So I assume it's the brother that had passed before she was born. Number 10, farmer in a past life. My nephew at age 5 told us he was once a farmer with 3 kids who lived in a town in Wisconsin. He said he missed the kids. We never forgot it, but he did. The clincher, the town he named exists. Not a common name either. Wow. That was I too am Kane. Wrote that one. But then it's at I am Kane 3. That's pretty crazy.
Apparently a split personality.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Number 11, Grandma Says Bye. This is by, that can't be right, Minority Leader Mitch McDonald with the laughy faces.
Replying to Melissa Gillett again.
Yeah, all of these are. That's the thread.
Most of them are, yeah.
My nephew was 3. I walked in the room and he was in a conversation and I asked who he was talking to. And he said, Grandma. He told me very specific things. He said, Grandma says bye. I said, Grandma left? He said, Grandma said you wouldn't believe I was talking to her because you're not a kid.
Oh.
Well, still really cool. Kid or not, I think you got to appreciate that they're still around. Number 12, Sweet Grandfather. This is by Shao Traumashir, they, she. Says, I was 15 when my grandfather passed. My parents were at the hospital and I was at home asleep. I heard my grandfather call my name and he was in my bedroom. He put the stuffed dog he won for me on my bed and said, see ya, my girl. Oh, that's sweet. Laughing, Smiling, and Waving, number 13 by Lady Di. My terminally ill husband passed away in our bedroom. About 5 years later, at the age of 18 months, my grandson sat on my bed and all of a sudden he started laughing, smiling, and waving to the area where the hospital bed had been. That area was empty. Wow. That's wild. Number 14, Bump. Bum, 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 bum. This is by Katie the Embittered. Poor Katie. It says, my now adult son, had multiple imaginary friends. One name was Bump. One day when I was in the shower, he shouted into the bathroom, Mommy, Bump watches you when you're in the shower.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, no.
Gotta watch out for those bumps.
Oh, boy.
Wow, that's not creepy at all. Oh. Number 15, The Bulldog Knows. This is by Eva Robbie. My 1.5-year-old bulldog lays on the bed and will talk to my husband who died. Bulldogs are talkers. Lots of noises at his chair, and she'll pause like she's listening and more talk. He died May 18th. I got her fall of 19. She tosses her ball to the chair. So she's obviously interacting with somebody.
Yep.
So it's even pets can interact like that. That's cool. I mean, usually you hear, the pet started growling or acting funny, but that's kind of heartwarming. Grandpa's Cologne. This is by Sabrina Zombie. Numb Zombie Mom. She says, right after my oldest was born, I walked into the nursery. He in the nursery smelled like my father's cologne. My dad died 10 months before he was born. My son has smelled that cologne after as well. Now he wears it. Took a liking to it. Oh, that's cool. I many times have shared that in this house, I will smell some really old, like flowery perfume. He says The Long Walk. What I would do for the opportunity to be with Donnie and his wonderful beard.
Oh, my.
Well, you're going to need probably a little more than $19.99 to get there. Thank you very much.
Oh, they say.
He sends $20 with a pickup line. That's awesome. All right. Let's see. Here's the next one. Her other mother, 17, Woman in the Moon, writes, my youngest went on about her other mother from age 2 to 5. The stories she told haunt me to this day. Yeah, we've heard a few of those today about the other mothers. And these other mothers weren't always great people, apparently.
No, apparently not.
Number 18, last time I was here, Candy O says, it's actually Candy DeLong. She says, when my daughter was around 3, she told me the last time I was here, I was a boy, very calmly, and dug into some French toast. 30 years later, I'm still stunned. True story.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is the conclusion of that list.
Well, that's good because we're
perfectly timed because, ladies and gentlemen, we're just nearing the last break. And again, I think these stories are incredibly interesting. I think there's a lot to this. And again, we don't know the authenticity of any of these because they're just aggregates from Reddit. But if only a few of them are true, this is still phenomenal. This is phenomenal potential proof to suggest that, people continue, which I think is good. I think that we all have this idea of life maybe being finite, and that's a horrifying thought to me. But these stories, to me, really reinforce that life goes on. Life will continue. And I guess in my heart of hearts, I know that. But, I mean, everybody's human. You get those times where you're like, what if? God, that would suck. But But again, and then the idea that maybe life repeats. And I think that's interesting too. But take it or leave it. I'm not trying to convince anybody that reincarnation is the truth and the way things work. I don't know. I don't know any of this stuff for sure, but I have a lot of opinions. Huh?
In French.
Oh, you want to say French toast in French? All right. I don't know how you say it, Don, but good luck. Good luck on that journey.
It's Rachel's fault. She says here in Quebec, we call it Quebec toast.
It's Quebec.
Quebec.
Got to pronounce it Quebec. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hit the last break, and we'll be back, and maybe Don will speak another language by then. We'll see what happens.
I don't need anything to speak.
He'll be speaking in tongues. We'll see what happens. Don't go away.
When you hear the word attack, the word attack is not you don't feel low, you don't feel high. It's a play. It's attack. Yeah. Attack means you got a target. Attack. You going to destroy. You going to handle whatever it is you need to handle. So for me, I'm attacking every part of what affects a child's life. So the leaders that are in the school, if they're not exhibiting the right qualities that they need to exhibit, I'm attacking them. I'm challenging them. If the leaders in the home are not exhibiting the qualities that they need to exhibit to help nurture this child, I'm attacking them. I'm attacking them in a way of helping them, but I'm attacking them. I'm here to help you out. That's my mission. I'm ready to attack this problem that you're facing. Let me help you out. And then I'm attacking the students as well. I'm attacking their ability or lack of ability to challenge them.
It's amazing how people have been raving about ILife all over Facebook. They've been posting their testimonials just because they want to get the word out because it's worked so well for them. If you're not familiar with ILife, it's a 99% pure CBD oil, but the secret is the synergy between the hemp and the ayahuasca vine, the non-psychoactive component of the ayahuasca tea. We recently received an email from a wife whose husband has Parkinson's. For the first time, he's been able to sleep through the entire night. Another customer reported that they're no longer using NSAIDs because their tennis elbow has been relieved with ILife. The reports have been phenomenal and much more than we ever expected. Everyone should have access to this. That's why if you head on over to ILife.com right now and use coupon code TFR, we'll give you $5 towards your order. And we'll even ship you worldwide.
right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back, as is Don, as are we on the Paranormal Portal.
You know
as
they
are
use
you.
the same toe in sour toe cocktails? It's all the same toe.
What?
Yeah, sour toe cocktails.
I don't know what that even means. I don't know any.
It's a drink with the toe in it.
What?
Yeah, look it up. Don't Google it.
No.
Somebody said don't Google it. So, but I know what it is, so there you go.
What
But it's
is-
all the same toe. It's green, and yeah, it's kind of
So it's a vegetable, basically?
No, it's a toe.
Come on, it's not.
It's a toe.
Of what?
It's a toe.
From what?
Like a big toe. It's a toe.
What do you mean it's green? I don't want to know. Nope.
It's been in a lot of cocktails.
I don't want to know. It's just so.
Hi, Gigi.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you, and thank you for being here with us tonight on this grand journey through the Paranormal Portal. My eye's a little watery, but I found out that I'm not good at muting lines or unmuting as the night has gone on today. Not sure why. I'm just kind of all over the map, I guess.
There's a word for that.
What is it?
Why your eyes water for no reason. I forgot it.
Oh, okay.
But it happens to psychopaths.
Well, God knows. I don't know. I must be a psychopath for doing the Paranormal Portal, right? Like, you got to be a little broken.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. I don't think I'm a dangerous one, though. I'm just more of a...
One of the toes got swallowed, yeah.
The toes. That's a weird factoid that, I don't know. I'm going to be thinking about that in my head all night.
There you go.
Would you call it sour?
Sour toe cocktails, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have to look at that just so I can put it to rest. But not now.
Check out the waffles.
Waffles?
Of the blue nature.
I don't know what you're starting to concern me now. I don't know what any of this means. I'm not the most worldly person. I'm Midwestern, so I don't know. That's my excuse anyway. I grew up very, very alone, so I didn't get exposed to all this culture. But, ladies and gentlemen, right now we're going to head to phantomsandmonsters.com.
Lon Strickler.
Lon Strickler's site, ladies and gentlemen, a great site. It's a great repository for claims and encounters that people have submitted or that Lon aggregates. But he also does research and has research associates all over the nation, I think into Canada as well. And they're researching everything from Dogman to Mothman to any other cryptid and strange phenomena that they can get their hands on. So it's a really cool site, and you can find information about all of that and more. Lon is actually, Naysay, what is going on with you? Let me read this. Not only to proclaim my love for Brent, but to testify he is much cheaper.
He takes Did you?
Wait till I tell you where you got to put the debit card. Thank you.
Here, just swipe here.
I'm so broken too now. It's not just you. We're all broken. What was I going to say now?
I don't know.
Lon does research everywhere. He's also an accomplished author, has several published books, and has his own podcast called Phantoms and Monsters Radio. Phantoms and Monsters Radio, and you can find that, all of that information, over on phantomsandmonsters.com. So check it out.
That's a great idea, Wonder Woman.
What'd she say?
She said make it a Groupon.
Start with a GoFundMe. I think my rates just went up. I'm not a cheap date. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
There we go. But we're gonna hit some articles over on Phantoms and Monsters, a couple of them, and the first one has to do with Bigfoot, because by God, we love some Bigfoot here on the portal.
We love us some Bigfoot.
We do, and
thank you, Gigi.
All right, so let's go to the article here. It's Bigfoot does lurk in the Ozarks, according to experienced Missouri camper. And I suppose if you're a camper, you could probably know. Now, it's funny. Some people have experiences and some people don't, but I think Bigfoot's kind of selective, personally. I don't think he or she or they go in on all people. Maybe there's more of a resonance to it that they're drawn in. I don't know. It's very curious. Some people have experiences everywhere they go. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's also a confirmation bias, like they want to, and so they say they do. But what if there is something more to it, like there's actually some kind of sympathetic resonance between the person and those things.
Unless you're Dean Harrison.
Dean,
Then you have a sassy Squatch standing over here while you're getting bluff charged on the other.
I think that's because of Gary, though.
I
I think that's all Gary.
It's Gary's fault.
It's Gary's fault. Yeah, they got stuck. They were just out in the outback, and Dean got stuck last week, and now Gary got stuck today.
It's called karma.
I guess so. But Bigfoot does lurk in the Ozarks, according to experienced Missouri camper. It says a Missouri woman who was raised on camping and the outdoors since childhood recalls the first time her and her husband heard the scream of a Bigfoot. She's now convinced it exists. And apparently, I've not heard that in person, but I can imagine what you hear most often is people commenting on the power of it. It's just so loud. It's hard to believe that it's coming from a living thing. It's just such a huge sound that they can make. But it says, I've lived my 50 plus years in rural settings and split my time between homes in North Missouri and in the Missouri Ozarks near the Arkansas border. The first time I went camping, I was just a baby, and my father's idea of camping was way beyond where the road ends. So I was exposed early and frequently to the many weird sounds and sights in the deep Ozark forests. Coyotes, fox, owl, bobcats make some of the strangest noises heard. If you're in the woods near a farm, cattle do more than moo. We camped and hunted often as I grew up, and after my marriage, my husband and children continued the tradition. I say this to note that I know what I hear in the woods. One night in the early 1990s, we were at a campground in Merrimack State Park with a family we were friendly with. They'd never camped before, and that's why we were in a nice, clean, civilized, flush toilet containing campground.
Sweet.
Those are the best kind.
Yep.
Absolutely. We'd had a nice evening, and we all in our separate tents at around 1 a.m. were fast asleep. Some sound woke me up, and I lay there listening. The camp was silent, the night cool and clear, with a full moon. I could tell by his breathing that my husband was also awake. As I was about to say something to him, a loud, long, deep, horrible roar came barreling down the river from no further than a half-mile away. I sat straight up in my sleeping bag with every nerve at attention. Neither of us, my husband is as comfortable in the woods as I am, could come up with an explanation. It was just that one terrible scream. The sound came from something that was a massive chest. It was loud and deep and seemed to go on forever. It was none of the animals I was familiar with. After hundreds of nights of sleeping along Ozark rivers, it scared the hell out of me. The next day, our new-to-camping Yankee friends didn't mention the scream, so we didn't bring it up as we couldn't explain it, and figured no reason to spoil their first camp. Since then, I've heard several people who I deem credible describe close, first-hand experiences seeing Bigfoot. Previous to us hearing that scream, I never believed in Bigfoot, but after hearing the conversation of those experiencers, I've come to the uneasy conclusion that there is some huge primate lurking in the Ozark backwoods. Yeah, just everywhere. They're just everywhere.
Right.
There's one of Lon's books right there, the meme humanoids. And he's also written Winged Cryptids, so he's got a lot of projects. And there's a link to his Phantoms and Monsters radio, so you can find all of that over here. But yeah, the vocalizations are just so allegedly impressive. Like they can be heard from miles away. And that's a hell of a feat, especially in the forest, because the forest has a tendency to swallow up noise.
Well, but it was coming down the river,
right?
So it followed that river.
Oh, yeah. Right down the wire, yeah. So there was that open riverway that probably did. But I mean, still, even in heavy forest,
pretty impressive.
People hear these things from a great distance away, and I mean, like coyotes can be heard from quite a distance as well, but there's something about the power of these yells, and I'm pretty sure that it's weaponized in some way, because I was listening to a report that Wes did on Sasquatch Chronicles, and I think it was Sasquatch Chronicles. I'm pretty sure, but the guy was he was a combat vet, and he was at a place where there was an area dug out, and they were having issues with tools getting thrown into this pit where they were excavating and stuff, and so he finally heard it one night and ran out there with his gun, and he found a family of Bigfoot. There was a little one that was actually kind of stuck in the excavation dugout, and there was 2 adults on the other side. And they were obviously like trying to help it get out, but they were trying to be quiet or whatever. But it did wake the guy. So this guy is armed. And I'm going to paraphrase the whole experience. But the interesting part is he said that both the adults looked at him, heaved back with their bodies, and then leaned forward and with their mouths wide open, like roaring at him. And he said it was quite a distance from where he was to where they were, but he could still... The impact of that sound, he said, made him queasy. It made him feel dizzy, and it made him feel nauseous. But he held his ground, and he said he didn't know what to do. And then there was one that was working its way around like it was coming for him. And he said the only thing I could do was I knew my gun wasn't going to be powerful enough for the adults, but he said I did the only thing I could do, and that was, I guess he aimed at the child, and all of them froze. Like they noticed that it was a gun. He didn't want to shoot it. He just wanted them not to kill him. So he aimed at that. And then he said that then the one that was circling around stopped, and they had like some chatter between them, I think. And it he ended up just kind of backing away.
Yep.
And then they did get the young one out and took off and never came back. But that the interesting takeaway is the sound. That it made such a sound that it had a biological reaction. And oftentimes we hear about infrasound, and I don't know that the infrasound is always this screaming thing. Maybe it has infrasound pieces to it. I think that their roar is a very complex sound. It sounds like it covers a wide range of octaves and stuff, but I think it's very interesting that they are so powerful with their vocals, and people talk about that. Sometimes people claim the infrasound is more like maybe unheard, like they don't hear it, but they feel it. Like our friend Cindy, when she said she was zapped, I don't think they heard anything. She just felt like she was suddenly overcome with, feeling groggy and out of it, and had fell down or something, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah. And then they shoved her in the back of the truck.
Right. Yep. Yep. She was out with Bear and them, and they put her in the back of the truck and got out of there. But maybe the yells, the screams, the really powerful screams also have that. Oh, thanks, Gigi.
And one more.
Huh?
One more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one more.
Oh.
And that is for Casey.
Casey? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Casey. That's really cool. Thank you all so much.
Now that you both have the clap.
Now that you've both been given the clap here on the portal.
That's a tricky thing to get rid of.
It's best just to wait till it wears off.
Is that like being bitten by the bug?
I don't know. Not sure. But anyway, that's a really cool story. I do, but I believe there are Bigfoot everywhere. This is not any kind of localized problem. It's a global. It's a global phenomenon. So I don't think it's just the Ozarks. It's obviously everywhere there is forest. There seems to be the potential, at least, that there could be Bigfoot around there. I don't know. Even in deserts, they've been reported, though, Don.
Yeah.
Maybe they just cross deserts. I don't know that maybe they live in them somehow, but they do seem to survive and thrive wherever they are. Expert, a group on Paranormal Portal, jar of dry rub coming your way soon. Nice. That's awesome. Actually, you do such a great job on the ribs. I keep thinking about the ribs. I get hungry every time.
It's been 2 years since you've been out to my place.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get invited ever.
Well, the last 2 years have been kind of...
They've been, it's been a mess for all of us, yeah. But at least we get together a couple times a week, so.
No, keep that bromance alive.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to read that one.
Oh.
That one from... She had talked about, who was it again? Oh.
Was it?
The child talking about.
Oh.
That was, who was that again? I'm totally brain dead here. I lost it. Damn it. I wanted to read it when we came back, but I got sidetracked with my muting and unmuting. that I actually forgot, but I got to find where.
Well, I will look it up here.
Yeah, it's up in. That was Lisa. Lisa said this. She said, in reference to the other stories that we were reading about children, she said, I lost my second child, and my older daughter was around 4 when she told me I'd have a baby boy because her sister that passed told her. And yep, 2 years later, I had a baby boy. That's amazing. So, and this is why I love the chat so much, because you guys that's a firsthand story.
Right.
And that to me is so much, that's so much more powerful.
That's gold, yeah.
Than anything that I've read all night, was hearing your account, your experience. So thank you so much for sharing that. And that is amazing. I think that is so powerful. So thanks for letting us know. All right. So we got another one from Phantoms and Monsters here. Well, we still got time to read it. And this has to do with the Mothman stuff. And they're doing a lot of Mothman research around the Chicago area with the Waylands of singular Fortean.
Right.
So this is a tall, red-eyed mantis head winged cryptid observed in Elk Grove Village, Illinois roof. This is from April 13th, 2022. That's interesting that it had like a mantis head, though. Yeah. I don't know that I've heard that description before, but let's
mantis,
see what it is.
Yes. Winged, no.
Well, yeah, right. So the combination of all of these features.
Yeah.
So this was from April 9th, 2022. The following information was provided by Phantoms and Monsters Fortean research member Manuel Navarrete at UFO Clearinghouse. Says time of sighting was approximately 2,300 hours. Location was Elk Grove Village, Illinois. Winged humanoid seen on top of garage by 7 witnesses. So that's a great sighting. When you got that many people seeing it, that's powerful. Status of the case is under investigation, referred to Phantoms and Monsters Fortean research team. It says, we were at my niece's birthday party, and I joined some family members outside for a drink and to smoke a cigarette. We were standing behind the neighbor's garage when my cousin got everyone's attention and pointed toward the neighbor's garage. Oh, they were standing behind their garage, and the cousin pointed toward the neighbor's garage, saying, hey, look. And there on top of the garage was what looked like a really thin man, except he was hunched over and had extremely long arms. Freakishly long arms that he was propping himself up with. He stood there hunched over on his knuckles, looking at us with these bright red glowing eyes that did not blink. He had a pair of large wings that seemed to come out from his back and were slowly moving. He looked like he was slowly moving them up and down while he stood there looking at us. We were about 50 to 60 feet away from this thing, but we could still see it from where we were standing. He shifted up and down, almost like he was examining us and trying to figure out who or what we were. As curious about us as we were of him. There were 7 of us out there, and all of us had a good view of this thing, and it stood there on top of the next-door neighbor's garage. My 2 younger female cousins were saying they were scared of this, calling it a demon. Their dad, my uncle, kept telling them that they were going to be okay as long as they stayed by him and the group. It stood there looking at us for what seemed like 30 seconds before it started flapping its wings and jumped off the garage and flew away. It looked extremely tall and thin, like it was all skin and bones and weighed less than I did. I'm petite, like half the size of my cousins, and used to get teased about it growing up, but this creature looked like it was even thinner than I was. It looked like a tall version of those starving children that you see on the news every once in a while. It was grayish black and had a head that looked like it was shaped kind of like a praying mantis, except it had glowing red eyes and never blinked, not even once. When it jumped off the garage roof, it made my cousins and even my uncle scream as it flew off over the trees and in the backyard of my grandmother's house, and it was gone. I know we've been drinking during the party, but no one was drunk, not even tipsy. And I know we all saw the same thing, which means unless we were all seeing things, this thing was really out there. When we went inside and told the others, my mother and grandmother both thought we were all joking, but when they saw that we were all scared and that we were all saying the same thing, they started to believe us. My grandmother and grandfather both said that it could have been La Lechuza, La Lechuza, and that we were lucky nothing happened to us. I'm not sure what we saw was La Lechuza, but when I got home, I did research and then sent my family members screenshots and links to the sightings. That is crazy. It says, note, Manuel is tracking down the other witnesses and will provide updates to the sighting until we receive better information on the address. I'm going to refrain from posting it on the interactive map. Below is the witness sketch from Lon. And so this is what it looked like for those of you on YouTube. It's kind of a nondescript, I don't know, shadowy figure, but it does seem to have the wings, the big red eyes. I don't know. These things are odd. So I don't know. I think it's probably more extraterrestrial, don't you? Or do you think it's cryptid of some kind?
I'm up in the air about that.
Yeah. That's me too. But I mean, you've of course heard about the mantis aliens, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have a first-hand account of a mantis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was from Ted Lohman.
Okay.
And Ted Lohman he had a show down in Arizona. I can't remember what the name of it was. It was on public access, but he also was one of the first to report on the Phoenix Lights.
Oh, okay.
And so anyhow, I was talking with him. It was about 3 years ago, and he was telling me about this. It was like mid 90s, like 94, 95, and he said a friend of his came over and he brought a mantis being with him. A mantis being came with his friend.
Oh, wow.
And they were talking with him on what would be the equivalent of like a Chromebook now, a small computer-like thing. And he was conversing with this mantis being. Dummy me didn't ask any more questions about that.
No.
It didn't even register in my head. It's kind of hard to talk to
Sure.
Ted because Ted had tongue cancer,
right? And
they took half his tongue, so it's kind of hard to understand Ted. But it just went right past me. I did not ask any questions about that. Wow. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm thinking about it years later. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I not know that?
That's amazing. That is amazing. And you got to wonder, what kind of information did they share? What did they, what was the...
I have no idea because I forgot to ask.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's one of those amazing, amazing things. Rachel says, Paranormal Portal, maybe these creatures are missing 411 from other dimensions coming into ours, like humans may disappear to their dimensions. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it could just be a gateway kind of thing, like this. They'd have made it through like we fall through theirs. That's a great idea. It's a great possibility, I guess. And that's the beauty of all this stuff is like nobody knows. So there's no wrong answers. There's nothing anybody can say that isn't just as probable as anybody else says. Right. I think that's a great possibility. Trandaloids, they are called those mantis beings.
Oh, okay.
They are not friendly to humans. See, that's what I've heard too, unknown, is that the takeaway is that they're not friendly, but who knows? I will tell you guys that I watched the new Stephen Greer CE5 Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and it's kind of esoteric, I guess, at the end of the day, but it is really interesting. And you can, if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it. I just watched it last night. I messaged you, by the way. Did you see that?
Yeah, because you were telling me about
they kind of have some words to say about the To the Stars,
the TTBSA,
Tom
Ding Dong, DeLong.
Yeah, Ding Dong. Yeah, but I thought it was an interesting, and there's some great footage that they got on that video of some things that were recorded, and you can tell they're not traditional airplanes and traditional aircraft. So. Very, very interesting. So take of it what you will, but I think it's a beautiful idea. If what they're saying is true, I think that's amazing and hopeful. I tend to believe also that we're not on the cusp of some interstellar attack. That it's just it just doesn't wash.
You don't
for
think
me.
Project Bluebeam's quite that thing?
Yeah,
not that thing.
It doesn't wash to me that they're they're these super advanced beings, and yet all they want to do is just put a foot in our tail. It's like, Why would they
All they
continue
wanna
to
do
wait?
is zoom.
Yeah. Why would they continually wait and observe all this time
Right.
while we develop technology and
Just
become
to-
more of an issue?
Just to barbecue us.
Yeah, they could
in
have
the
they
end.
could have rolled us when they were building pyramids. I
Yeah, I
mean,
wish they would have sometimes. Yeah.
Don's not a real fan of humanity.
Sometimes, no. I'm so misanthropic. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I understand, but I think we all are getting that way. It's just certainly a challenging
it's called
world.
Jaded.
Yeah, the world is really getting pretty jaded. But
Wow, it's over.
it's over, folks. We made it. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll be back tomorrow night. Deb Varner will be here with Sheldon and I, and we'll be doing psychic readings to callers of the show. So call in, and we'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
Bye. Good night.
Love you, mean it.